I'm curious how cyberpunk connects and is in conversation with culture today.
A lot of the genre was about what technology gives us and what it takes away from us and who controls it, right? And the more we begin to rely on technology, how does that just become or not become a tool for capitalism to do what capitalism does? And then where are the people fighting back against that? Where's the revolution in that? Yeah, I mean, in going back to a lot of this literature and a lot of these movies, a lot of what they were talking about feels like now, actually, it's just not cool. It's not sexy. It's not, being in the middle of it feels pretty mundane. But look at this dumb watch I'm wearing that does more. This is a cyberpunk thing. This Apple Watch that's reading my pulse and transmitting that to a doctor if necessary, and and where I can look up directions on it and talk on it. Getting a phone call on your wrist was a cyberpunk thing. Like that was this is the future, and it's just not that cool, right? I'm embarrassed that I'm wearing it. I forgot to take it off before this, and now it's on camera, and that embarrasses me. And maybe you just don't know you're in the apocalypse, right? Maybe you're in the middle. Maybe we're not pre-apocalypse or post-apocalypse. Maybe this is just apocalypse, and this is what it feels like. And there's no one, it doesn't look like Mad Max out there. We're not all no one's sitting on the front of my car with a guitar playing my theme song for Valhalla. It's not, it's just this. The genre did inform the nature of this record a lot and kind of make us want to present an alternate present that feels cool, that still where we can listen to these songs and feel cool for listening to them. And I don't know, I'm also in my 40s. Maybe someone who wasn't alive reading stuff and watching movies in the early 90s still is able to feel cool about right now.
Right. Hi, I'm Joe Skinner, and this is American Masters Creative Spark. In each episode, our guest breaks down their creative journey behind a single work of art. Today, I spoke with actor and rapper Daveed Diggs about his experimental hip-hop group Clipping and their new cyberpunk-inspired album, Dead Channel Sky.
Calling all cyber rap race escape artists to the clearing. Hear ye how the synth wind whispers, as endearing as the jacked on past you've all run from. Down in the doldrums, grabbing hold as if a dungeon.
What you're hearing is one of the singles from that album, called Welcome Home Warrior, featuring Daveed Diggs rapping as a computer hacker in a cyberpunk collab with another rap legend, Aesop Rock.
10 hub, 10 ton tuppy in the red brum. Punk's not dead, but rebel to rebel, I'm bell wrong and out radical. Help me to the breadcrumbs, make it look natural.
Daveed Diggs is a rapper who often exceeds well over 100 words per minute with his high-speed delivery and complex writing.
You know this is where you must belong. Listen to your arteries. Don't the chambers echo out this song? It's a part of you. Even though you've been apart too long, it's been calling you. Just answer the call and all the rest of it will follow you. Wrap yourself in all of you, and in time will honor all you do. Welcome home, warrior, everyone is proud of you. Welcome home, warrior, everyone is proud of you.
You might recognize him more from his acting credits, though, especially his dual role as Lafayette and Jefferson in Hamilton. But to understand how Daveed got here, you need to understand how music was in his DNA from the start, going back to his days hearing music in his crib in the early 1980s.
My mom was a DJ before I came along in the 70s and early 80s, and my dad was also a great lover of music, and so we had this huge record collection growing up. So music was always around. Parliament is my favorite band of all time, Parliament Funkadelic, and George Clinton is, the gold standard to me in terms of music, but I discovered that stuff as a kid. Apparently Atomic Dog was my favorite song, 1982, it's the same year that song came out. But as I started discovering rap music, that was mine, right? That was something that my parents didn't introduce me to, that came, I remember I'd heard one of the songs from the Black Sheep album. I think some kid was playing it in a tape deck. I asked my mom if I'd like to buy me that. I remember.
You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you'll get with this, but this is where it's at.
But Black Sheep was an East Coast duo, And it wasn't until David got deep into regional Bay Area music that he started to really find his voice. And he couldn't find it alone. Clipping is a trio that consists of David and producers Jonathan Snipes and William Hudson, who give Clipping their abrasive, textured sound and rich atmosphere. And William Hudson and David actually knew each other since grade school, discovering music together.
As me and Bill were growing up together, we started going to the record stores and we started being around rappers, you know. The Bay Area has always had a really vibrant music scene, but the thing about it is, and this is with most arts in the Bay, like there's not really an industry for any of it there. So, but there are a lot of people doing it. So you're always surrounded by artists who are also teachers or whatever, you know. And that's the kind of thing I grew up around. So I remember, you know, Del the Funky Homo Sapien lived down the street from my mom's house. I used to see him on his Razor scooter all the time. But yeah, I remember Bill had the second Freestyle Fellowship album, Inner City Griots. He had that, and he was the first person who played me a copy of that. And I don't know, it couldn't have been long after it came out. I remember hearing that and being like, oh, whoa. And that sending me down this spiral of like LA underground stuff and all of the like things that sort of leaned closer to free jazz than rap music.
Once we have the knowledge and self as a people, then we can be free and no devil could ever enter the boundaries. I stand in the center around all these sounds I see. Blessed are life that I found the key. That's how we be.
All the Project Blowed stuff ended up becoming really important to me.
And the snap so quick or the rap so sick or the absolutely put together each and every link and get me cosmically in sync.
And Haiku d'Etat, that like super group they formed for a little while.
Mike, Aaron, and Eddie. Mike, Aaron, and Eddie. Mike, Aaron, and Aaron, and Eddie.
But at the same time, in the Bay, like the Mystic Journeymen were happening.
Think about the present and the past. Reflect on your life and the bad.
And also, I started playing the saxophone when I was 9 years old. Like I end up going to Berkeley High School and I'm starting to find Ornette Coleman and all like free jazz stuff that I hadn't, you know, wouldn't have maybe come my way before. And so all of this kind of leading towards the more like experimental side of most genres is like kind of, for me, just part of the like Bay Area soup. Yeah, for me, like being a kid who was interested in art and having a ton of access to artists, because there were there's a big arts community there, but not really having access to the commercial side of making art, like led me to this, I think contributed a lot to what I ended up being, which is like, I only know how to make things that feel this way, and I don't really know how to make something in order for it to sell well, right? I don't have any good idea of how to do that in any of the things that I do, so I really have to trust other people when they say that they can make some money off, because I have no idea how to do it. Because I didn't have a model for that. I didn't know anybody who was really, but we did have all of these cats around, just all hustle. All of these hustle. Everyone's hustling all the time in order to just, that to me was just what being an artist is. And so, yeah, so I think that all that sort of Bay Area kind of indie spirit soup is what kind of equals somebody who teams up with some similar friends and makes a thing like Clipping, and like the Hamilton of it all too. Like those, you know, I knew those cats for years and years. We were just weirdos freestyling together in front of people, but like it was, yeah, it all feels very Bay Area to me.
People think of Hamilton now as this huge financial success, obviously on Broadway, but to hear that it has these roots in something that's so sort of a groundswell of just indie spirit, I think is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm in that because me and Anthony Veneziali, who's another member of Freestyle Love Supreme, were called to substitute teach the same class due to a clerical error. This is in 2000 and, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something, yeah, right? Like, that's how I got involved with those guys. And he was like, hey, my friends also rap and act. We should hang out. and do that together.
So what's the lesson there, you know?
I don't know, man. Just keep making stuff with your friends. This is, I talk to a lot of like college kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I always say, like, if for the artists, like your collaborators, your like greatest collaborators, the people you have the most success with, you're probably sitting next to them right now. Like, you're probably already doing it. For all of us in the arts particularly, but I think kind of everyone, we are taught to feel that like there is something greater out there, that like the next step is the step. Like, I'm, you know, like, oh, I'm right. I just need to do this and then I'm on, right? And you know, and I don't know. I think it took me a long time to get really comfortable with, and I still have to remind myself, but to get really comfortable with just looking around, just laterally instead of forward all the time. Like, what's right here? Because like, yeah, we all like devalue the things that are right around us all the time, right? I guess the grass is always greener, right? But there's so much to be mined from your immediate community, I think.
Through connections that came out of the Bay Area's indie spirit soup, Daveed Diggs ended up going from substitute teaching to winning Grammy and Tony Awards for his work on Broadway's Hamilton. He was recruited for his highly technical rapping, a skill he honed through his work with clipping, drawing inspiration from rappers like A$AP Rock and Bay Area icon E40.
I mean, E40 is my favorite rapper of all time. He's in everything I write, but specifically as it relates to us, there's a sort of ease. There's a conversational nature to even the most complicated things that he's trying to do. I think the great trick of rap music when it's done right, it's my favorite thing about it, is you imagine that the person you're listening to just talks like that.
I'll be more hipper than the hippopotamus. Get off in your head like a neurologist. Push him awake to Atlas. Got a partner by the name of Tupacalypse.
My job, because I'm a rapper, like, is kind of wonderful because I get to borrow from everything. And so A$AP Rock is on this album. He is all of our favorite rapper, probably. I mean, really up there on the list, but definitely in the DNA of this band is that fearlessness lyrically, to be obtuse or to take a really simple phrase or image and complicate it.
Smells like drywall, whisper of black mold, subtle hint of light bulb, sunk into the sofa, blown kisses on a dice roll, roll dice like a flying kick, teeth side scroll.
In the previous 4 full-length albums that Clipping released, they were defined by this complicated and obtuse lyrical storytelling, always told in second or third person. But they were usually influenced by the horror genre. And here with their new album, Dead Channel Sky, the title itself is a reference to the opening line of William Gibson's novel, Neuromancer. So they're clearly embracing a new genre, cyberpunk.
All 3 of us are fans of that genre, and we're just genre people in general. The things we consume are genre things, and a lot of our records are sort of, skewed that way. And it was one we hadn't played in before, and the music is so fun, like sonically deciding to reference a genre that really had its heyday in the 80s and 90s, and that we associate with films like The Matrix or Blade, and a time when there was a lot of really like marketing-based attempts at sort of crossing over like techno and IDM and electronic music and rap music, right? And rock music and all of these things. Like the soundtracks to these films were just throwing a bunch of stuff, a bunch of popular things in a blender and being like, isn't this what the kids are into? And most of it is terrible and some of it's great. So that kind of just got us to talking, and we start, just throwing out ideas, and this is how it goes generally. And then we start going down various rabbit holes. Oh, what is it? What are the different novels we want to reference? Oh, we really like this thing from there's a lot of great slang in Neuromancer we should use, So yeah, they come from all over the place, but once we start spinning out on a concept, we just kind of attack it from all sides, and we just keep saying things. And eventually there's this big pile of stuff, and we sort of sift through it, and what comes out is a bunch of songs that hopefully add up to an album.
On the album notes, Dead Channel Sky is described as the twin sons of hip-hop and cyberpunk, merging together and mapping their twin histories from the 80s and 90s to create a fictional alternate present. You can hear it right out of the gate in the album's second track, Dominator.
Once again back, it's the incredible. Guess the feeling wasn't indelible. Masticated up all the edibles, still ain't tripping. Apathy had to make out a body the status quo. Avatar opportunity is creating the capital. And no cap, audiences are infinitely more valuable when they thinking they ugly and acting fat and fashion. Kill yourself.
The album is a conceptual mixtape of disparate but connected tracks that offer a glimpse into this alternate universe. You know, I really love this concept of the new album being like a compilation CD that's found in the dustbin in the future.
Yeah.
Could you expand upon that idea a little bit?
Yeah. Again, from like, the if you used to go to record stores, there was always the bargain bin or like the dollar bin where everything had whatever, a different colored sticker on it, and it was all marked down to like $1. It was stuff nobody wanted, and we would comb through that stuff, because I didn't have a lot of money. And you could buy something because it looked weird, because it had a cool cover, or because you hadn't heard of anything on it before, and that was a big part of how we found new things. And I think we wanted all of these songs to exist in the same universe, but not necessarily be told from a single perspective. And so the reference point for that was like a compilation CD or a soundtrack to a film, right? Or something where everyone's playing in the same sandbox. All of these artists exist at the same time. In this case, they all happen to have my voice too, which is a little jarring. But they don't necessarily have anything to do with each other outside of that. And so what sort of picture of a universe do we paint with like a bunch of different artists who have all been who are just donating a song to this compilation? Mm-hmm. So we have something like Change the Channel, which obviously sonically is referencing The Prodigy, but that song is, from the perspective of somebody who is in the middle of, who's a soldier in a war. And one of the things we decided was that there are many wars going on in the present of this record, and but unless you are in the middle of them, you're not necessarily experiencing it at all, which is kind of how wars happen now.
Change the channel. The waves are making your face hurt. Make the most of it. Short days in a basement. Rebar in a nail pen. Breast milk in a green vial. Wet sheets in a corner. Asbestos is best before breakfast.
The whole hype is they don't know what they're fighting for, but they are fighting, and they have a series of tasks that need to be completed, and they're completing them.
Catch your breath. Gas can at the ready. Lighter on the floor. Drops of sweat. Listen closely. Everything is very important.
So there's that, but that person does not necessarily exist as the same person who wrote Polaroids, who is just a person looking through a box of photographs, kind of remembering things and trying to piece together how they got wherever they are right now.
Don't bother with it, live lobotomy. Split the bottle better, drink the God and leave the past behind for the fire. Don't nobody want these Polaroids.
Or certainly Mirror Shades Part 2 on this record with our friends Cartel Madras on it, which is just like a club song, and about how cool it must be in this club that you can't get into unless you have the right attire.
Round here you wear your mirror shades. You cool with that? Mirror shades. Round here they wear their mirror shades.
And then we always, the last song, Ask What Happened, is we've decided at some point that that's the song from the person who's responsible for the compilation, because there's a lot of trying to tie up loose ends on it. There's a lot of trying to make it all make sense. And also he's kind of like, the perspective of that one is sort of like a heady, like backpack, real tight, conscious rapper, the kind that we grew up on, but that we don't often play in that sandbox in this band either. So it was fun to do that, and it's fun to think of that song as being from that person.
Okay, thumbs up for the bombs, drop the resource, running low, killing many. Okay, safe harbors that are offshore for the rich. If you got money, you will be okay. Stock markets never stop anymore. People locked on the floor trading all day. Farmers stop when the crops are less than the land that start sailing away. Internet entering into homes via phones online is a thing they say. Speed of thought is a boom for communication, but it's break when they link for trade. Allies made to be safe and to maintain status, currency in play. Tech is king, and the life that'll bring to the table is changing things you pay for.
Wow, there's so many characters that you get to dive into. I mean, that just reminds me of the acting process in a way, too. I think there's a pretty fine line between acting and writing in that way. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, I mean, maybe more so on this one than on others of our stuff. But yeah, I mean, the great thing about writing is that you get to play every character. Even if when I'm writing screenplays or whatever, that's the fun part, is while I'm writing it, it's all me, and then we're going to give it to somebody to do it much better. But, so yeah, it's, this band is funny in that there is character, but it feels more novelistic, I guess. It feels more to, I've never written a novel, so I also probably don't know what I'm talking about, but, it's more closer to what I imagine writing a novel is like than what I happen to know acting is like or writing a screenplay is like, because it's about how do you give clues to a bigger story, how do you select language and circumstance that that add up to more than just what they're saying, and try to create a whole world out of these very small snippets. These would be primary sources for your book report about, 2025 in 1991, right? Or whatever. These were things that like you went to the future and found these sort of songs. Like that's often what we think we're trying to do is create clues to a much greater existence without describing the whole existence.
There is this big resurgence, I would say, in the past 5-10 years around sci-fi and science fiction. Part of me thinks it's because there's like a yearning for analog synthesis, and there is a yearning for those older eras. Yeah,
I think that's right. I think Bill said this not too long ago, that there, every song is an artifact, right? Once you record something, like that's how recorded music worked. It was recorded at a place in a time, and every sound on that record is actually like a time capsule of that time. So for us, for this record, going back and like mining synths that were used at the in the 80s and 90s and trying to get those real sounds, like there is a kind of archaeology there that's happening, and these are songs. They're like generally pretty frivolous. You're gonna listen to them a couple times or a ton of times or not. You're going to be listening to them however you're listening to them. Certainly not in like a perfect listening situation, because who has that? And very, very few people. So what they are just recorded evidence of whatever we were thinking at the moment that song was made, or the moments. And then you get these albums that exist that are from a particular time, and those become time capsules of like that time. And sometimes when you group those together with a bunch of other things that came out at that time, you get, this is what that kind of anthropology is like, this is what we felt like in this era. These are the kinds of things we were thinking about. And these are the kinds of sounds, especially when you talk about popular music or dance music or whatever, things that are meant to be played with people in places. Like, these are the kinds of sounds that used to mean that then. And that, to me, is really interesting.